Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video is going to be the part 2 of my first impressions on the Faber-Castell Polychromos color pencils. In the first video, I opened the setup for the first time and I took some sketches and I brought it to life using just the pencils. And in today's video, I want to see how the Polychromos measures up when I try to use it with watercolors. The whole reason why I got into using color pencils in the first place was because I wanted to use it in conjunction with my watercolors. So I feel like today's video is going to be the real test to see how I like using these in my process. So how we're gonna do this video is I'm going to draw just like a quick little portrait from imagination on this fluid watercolor paper in the hot press finish. It's a pretty decent watercolor paper. I don't think it is 100% cotton, but I found that it does the job. And because of the nice smooth finish, I found that it works very well with color pencils. And I'm going to be using the Prismacolor Colorase pencil in the shade Vermilion. So I'm just gonna do a quick sketch of a head and then we'll go from there. I don't really have anything in mind. I'm just searching at the moment. So I'm staying very loose and rough. I just want it to be a simple face that I can have fun rendering a little bit. And I don't want it to be a super tight drawing since I think I'm gonna be doing a lot of searching with the watercolor and the pencil crayons. Actually, this is proving to be a little bit more difficult than I imagined because I'm drawing on a much bigger surface than I usually do, and that always presents a bit of a challenge. Probably should have drawn this before the camera started rolling, but I thought it'd be interesting for you guys to see the drawing portion as well. I'm kind of really into like very kind of vertical hair lately. I don't know why. Well, not lately. I think it's been kind of a thing for me for a while. The imagery of like hair being really swept up from, I don't know, wind and just creating an interesting kind of shape. This kind of makes it look like she's got a mullet, but maybe it'll sort itself out. I'm going for like a very ethereal, whimsical sort of vibe here, if you can tell, hopefully. So here is our drawing. I don't know if I am absolutely like thrilled with it, but I see some potential here. At the very least, I do like the face. The hair will probably change a little bit throughout the process because I plan to use a very loose approach to this, and so things might be kind of shifting and changing, and I'm going to be altering the design as I go along. So yeah, now that our sketch is ready, I'm gonna move on to using watercolors and start by laying down my first few washes. So what I have envisioned for this is, first I want it to be very abstract, and I want to do the bulk of the work with my watercolors instead of color pencils because I don't want it to look like a color pencil piece. I want it to look like a mixed media piece. And from my limited experience of using the two together, I have learned that I don't like it when I do too much of the rendering with the color pencils because I really want to preserve the watercolor effect. So I think that will be kind of the challenge for this test here. So I think how I will start is by doing a very wet on wet approach to lay down the first wash of colors. So let me first spray my watercolors a little bit, get them activated. What kind of colors do I envision for this piece? I envision a very pinkish and a very like warm greenish color scheme. Very, I guess, spring inspired. And I want it to feel very light and effervescent. And I want the face to feel like it's just emerging from like a fog or mist or something, instead of having everything very defined and clear and crisp. So I'm gonna try to slowly build up my forms instead of going in too heavy to start. I am very nervous. But yeah, let's just throw some paint around and first wet the paper. Oh, I probably should have taken a photo of this, but I guess I'll take it from the video instead. So I am actually not a very confident wet on wet painter, but you know, there's a first time for everything. Ooh, the Cola Race is bleeding a little bit in the water, but because I used a nice warm orange color, it doesn't bother me at all. Let's start with the colors that I think I am kind of seeing in my head, which is this like warm green color. Let's just start. I'm going to just forget that there's a face here. I'm gonna forget that there's hair here. Basically treat it just as if it's all background, and then I think I'm going to build up the form on top of that. Because I really want a very abstract scene if I can help it. Though I'm getting a little nervous because I don't know how it's gonna go over. By the way, this paper is not actually the greatest at taking a ton of water, so I might regret this. Actually, I want to like splash some paint around too. Let's see if that's gonna work. Like this. Oh, well, I've committed. There we go. I think I'm going to now add some of the redness that I want on the skin while it's wet, because I want it to be very soft, though it's probably gonna very heavily bleed into other areas, but that's okay. Yeah, definitely not the most confident wet on wet painter. Gravity do its thing here. Well, that's a hot mess, but I see a lot of potential still. I see a lot of potential here. So I'm gonna let this dry for now. Maybe I will take my blow dryer out to speed up the process a little bit. Here we go. Okay, well that actually helped quite a bit, though now the edges are lifting off the page here, which is kind of annoying. Hopefully that glue will still stay in place. But here is how it looks. I think it looks actually pretty good, and it now gives me some context to work with, which is great. Yeah, I think I will now start to slowly bring out the features. I want maybe a part of the face, like one half of the face, to show a lot of this like background element through, kind of like part of the picture is kind of see-through. So yeah, I think I'm going to make certain parts a little bit more opaque, and then certain parts have this kind of effect showing through a little bit more. Okay, let's establish the local color for her skin. Giving a little bit more value on the face. are slowly starting to emerge. So we're finally going in to the hair. I have no idea what her hair color is gonna be, but that's the wonderful thing about watercolor is you can work on the lighting and then establish the colors later. Trying to add a bit more like abstract marks as I go. I feel like my confidence with this picture is fading fast, but I gotta remember to just keep pushing on, because I always come to a point where I feel like, oh, this is not turning out, and then a lot of the times you just keep marching forward and it might not end up being what you wanted it to be, but it usually turns out looking interesting at least. It's definitely a lot tougher with watercolor. It just doesn't stay where I want it to a lot of the times. The more I feel like I am failing, the more kind of bold I get with my marks, and maybe that is what I need. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, that was a massive struggle even to get it to this point, but you know, I don't love the drawing, but I like the colors still. I can still see the potential in it. Maybe the Polychromos is the answer to this piece, and maybe it will salvage it and bring it back from the brink. So let's move the watercolors aside. So here are the Polychromos pencils, and I'm just gonna start by bringing back the features and defining the drawing a lot better. See, unfortunately the paper has warped a bit, which is great. Oh yeah, goes on rather nicely as I suspected. Let's bring out the eyes better. The eye direction is really no bueno. Yeah, the pencils are going on really nicely. So satisfying to go in and carve out those little hard edges that just are so hard to do with watercolors. Making a little bit of progress. I'm gonna give her like wispy eyebrows. This eye, I really want to be careful and not go nearly as heavy. So far this paper is taking the color pencils very nicely. I'm very pleased with that. Yeah, sorry I'm not talking as much as I'm doing this. I feel like I'm just in a mode where I'm just like, well, you know, I might not even end up showing you guys this, so that's kind of where I am right now. I feel like I came down from such an energetic state to a huge low. It's just not going as well as I planned. I'm just concentrating on doing as much as I can and seeing how far I can go to salvage this. Let's just pretend that this is exactly what I was aiming for, and just really push it to a place where it looks finished, and just put it to rest and never look at it again. You know, I really hate giving up on a drawing or painting. And actually, I don't think I've ever actually given up on a video that I set out on doing, ever, even though I wanted to, but I figured, you know, a video is really hard to do, and whatever I do is whatever I get done, and that's what's gonna go out there into the world. Otherwise, you know, I would never get a video done. And right now, I'm feeling like I want to give up. I don't know if this is worth salvaging. I don't know. Well, okay. Maybe I need to really just remove myself for a bit and look at this thing objectively. Is it really all that bad? And I think the answer is no. It's not that bad, actually. It's just different from what I was going after. Well, it's not even that different, it's just, it was a struggle, you know? But maybe a struggle is just what you get sometimes. By the way, I really hate this pencil. I think this one actually legit sucks. This beige red 132. This looks like it would be a much lighter color, but it ends up being a very kind of dirty, like grayish color. It's weird. It's just not the color you expect to come out, and this is the only one where I was like, ew, that is surprisingly like different from what I expected. And so this one actually sucks. I wonder if other people have the same experience, but I am not a fan of that one. When in doubt, throw in some harder edges and it will look like you knew what you were doing, because it just looks so confident. Ooh, I really love this yellow. This really like bright yellow. Yes. Let's just bring this to a finish, no matter what. I've come this far. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, you know what? There's a softness to this that I do quite like. Maybe it's not such a horrible thing. And I really like how these like watercolor marks are showing through. So yeah, if I haven't said it enough already, these pencils are working really great on the paper. Really could not ask for more. It just glides very effortlessly, and the color is very creamy. Yeah, I really like this little splatter of watercolor here that kind of breaks this area up a bit. This is a little bit weird, but I really love eyebrows. I find eyebrows to be a really fun place to inject a lot of interesting colors, because for some reason eyebrows just don't look very good when you just do it all in one color. So I just got into a habit of putting like all colors under the sun to do the eyebrows, and in a way I think that looks more realistic than just like a very uniformly colored eyebrow. So yeah, eyebrows. One of my favorite places to add interesting little color variations. All right, what else? Bring a little bit more definition to this area of the hair. I want a little bit of weight here because I feel like it really brings our eye to the focal point. I think I want to kind of separate the ear from the face a little bit because I really want this line of the face to be brighter than the ear. So let's do that. Actually, let's take a gray and see how that looks first. Yeah, I like that. I feel like we have kind of brought this back from the brink, so that's good. I really like these pops of turquoise here with the watercolors. I'm definitely not gonna really touch those because I like how they look just very loose like that. And trying to like draw around them with color pencils would probably take away from that. So I'm gonna try to leave marks like that as much as possible. Yeah, grays are really handy, you guys. Well, basically neutrals. Any neutral color that doesn't have too much like hue is very handy for just working on the values. You know what? I would like to see a pop of pink in this green. So I'm going to maybe take this. I don't know if this is a bright enough pink for what I want to do. But yeah, do something like that. Yeah, I feel like I am not happy with the pinks in this set. If I had anything to gripe about with this Polychromos set, it is that the pinks are not quite as vibrant as they appear. And I think maybe they might be slightly like translucent or something. They're not quite as opaque as I would like either. Maybe that is why they don't seem quite as bright. To me, in person here, it looks a little bit more like a dusty gray, grayed down pink, which is not really what I wanted. But, you know, there are limitations with every set. And that's why you kind of have to just fill in the blanks with other colors from other brands. almost there. The hair is a little weird. It does look like she is sporting a mullet, unfortunately, but maybe not the absolute worst thing. I don't even really remember what the hair looks like here. Yeah, I don't really remember what was going on here. I can faintly make out the hair. Let's see if that is going to help. Instead of filling it green, let's just make the outline green and not fill it in, just let it be the background. You know what, I'm gonna move
this over onto the left side because it is driving me crazy. There, okay, that was driving me crazy.
So wow, how times have changed, because now I am really liking how this is looking, and yeah, it's just very fun and easy to use. These Polychromos pencils, I'm really glad I stuck through it and didn't give up. And it's got a nice little pleasant vibe to it that I am digging. And these pencils really are a joy to use so far. I mean, I thought they were nice on their own, just in my sketchbook, but with the watercolors, it is just dreamy. Dreamy creamy. Yeah, it's just so easy to get these nice crisp lines with these pencils. And that's definitely an improvement from the Scholar pencils that I've been using. So I'm kind of tempted to fill in this gap here because I kind of feel like she really looks like she has a mullet. So yeah, I'm gonna just try to fill in the gap here with some more green and see how I like that. Very lightly, because I still want it to read like it is flowing behind her and behind this patch of hair. So I have to be quite careful. I don't know, do I just leave it? Do I just leave it? Maybe I just leave it. I don't know. I didn't really know what to do. Now it's looking a little mermaidy, which don't have a problem with that. I feel like I barely touch the more darker colors because I can do a lot of work just with the more mid-tone values just by layering them together. So the darker colors are definitely not gonna get as much use in this set, I don't think. But it's still nice to have very specific dark colors for convenience. So much for going in like 70% of the way with watercolors and then doing just accent marks and tighter rendering with the color pencils. Yeah, I would say I probably did the opposite. Maybe 70, well, then again, a lot of the watercolor still shows through, but you know, it's not easy drawing and painting on screen while you're trying to explain what you're doing. So I kind of give myself a little bit of credit and say, you know what, had it just been me and the camera and not having to like talk through the process as I'm doing it, like I probably wouldn't have struggled so much early on, because it is a lot of pressure, and whenever you feel like you're making a mistake, it kind of compounds and it just makes you nervous. And when you feel like you're making a mistake on screen over and over again, it's really difficult to break away from that, and just feels easier to give up at that point. But yeah, I'm just really glad that I didn't. I'm glad I saw this through. Not just for the video, but for me as well. It's just nice to know. I'm kind of tempted to go in with watercolor again and kind of fill this area out in paint instead of color pencils, because I don't want this area to be too heavy. Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point we should be free to try anything because we are in a playful state. Anything goes. Let's just see what happens. Hopefully nothing tragic will happen here. Is this just gonna resist all the watercolor? I think that did what I wanted it to do. It is definitely resistant to the watercolor, but maybe it gets the little bits of paper that's still showing through. I don't know, I have no idea, but it seems like it's somewhat taking. Now I'm going to go back into the hair here. And while we still have our watercolors out, let's try to make some more opaque marks. I think as long as I go over areas where I didn't go too heavy with the color pencils, then it just sticks fine onto the paper. Even here, I think, I don't know, it looks good. I had a little bit of color pencils there. It went over it fine. I think maybe with a very opaque application of watercolor, it goes on fine, which is very encouraging to see. Yeah, I just wish, I don't know, I just don't like her hair here, but maybe I just have to live with that, eh? Or maybe I don't. Let's see. We'll see how that dries. Oh, that could potentially be interesting. What else can I do though? What else can I do? Why do I always feel the need to do so much? I have this impulsive desire to keep going, but ew, I really like how that looks upside down, eh? It looks pretty good. Looks better upside down. Seriously, once this dries, I'm done. I'm out of here. Kind of reinforcing some of these. I can have a little pop of like orange here. Why not, right? Kind of helps tie this little orange blob down here too. wish I had a more saturated pink here. Okay, I think I'm finally ready to call this done. Wow, that was not without struggle, but I am really glad that I pushed through it and managed to get something down that I, ended up kind of liking and having a lot of fun with actually. So I'm really pleased with that. So it turns out you can use watercolor over the color pencils. I thought the paper would be completely resistant and it wouldn't absorb any of the pigment. I was kind of expecting the paintbrush to kind of glide around the page, but it didn't. It actually stuck. So that is really amazing news because I want that flexibility while I'm working, and I don't want to have to feel like I have to go 100% of the way with watercolor and then finish off with the color pencils. I want to feel like I can go back and forth if I need to. Each medium is different and it helps me think of how to progress through the image differently, and bouncing back and forth, it really just gives me better insight to the picture, I guess. It's hard to explain, but for me it's just much more preferred to be able to jump back and forth instead of having to go 100% of the way in before jumping onto the other medium. So that is really great news. So yeah, that's a really big thumbs up from me. And again, these pencils went over the watercolor very well, some better than others. I found that most were very creamy, very nice, very easy to use, just very pigmented. It flowed very well and it went on very evenly. Yeah, it was just a dream to work with over the watercolor. So yeah, that is my thoughts on the Polychromos color pencils. What do you guys think? My confidence really took a roller coaster ride in this video, but at the end it was restored. I feel a lot better about everything. I guess I owe part of that to the pencils for being so easy to work with and making the color pencil portion of the process so much more pleasant. Being able to wrangle those really messy watercolors in is exactly what I was looking for in a color pencil set. I hope you guys had some fun watching me struggle through this. I feel like some of you were probably cheering me on to finish, and yeah, I'm just really glad that I did, and I hope you guys like the results as well. So I'm gonna wrap it up here for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!